Hi, welcome to China Currents. I'm Chris. Last week, the top trending news on Chinese social media was undoubtedly Huawei's new cell phone, Mate 60 Pro. As we reported earlier, Huawei released the phone on August 29th, the day which U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo was about to wrap up her 4-day visit to China. Huawei's new 5G release was thus seen as a symbolic victory for Huawei in defying DC sanctions, demonstrating China's ability to make technological breakthroughs despite the challenges it faces. The Mate 60 Pro smartphone has ignited curiosity among tech enthusiasts and industry observers, particularly regarding the origin of the chips used in the device. Due to its sudden release and following sold out, many did not have the chance to obtain the cell phone, but by last week, experts have finally received their phones that shed light on the somehow mysterious cell phone. While Huawei has remained tight-lipped about the specifics of chip technology used in the Mate 60 Pro, a teardown analysis conducted by Tech Insights, a Canadian semiconductor intelligence firm, suggests that chip in question is the Kirin 9000S, manufactured by China's leading foundry, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corp. (SMIC). The Mate 60 Pro's launch has led to an outpouring of national pride, with Chinese netizens hailing the device as a testament to China's ability to make significant technological strides in the face of stringent U.S. sanctions. In the past week, consumers flocked to Huawei stores to buy the new model, priced at 6,999 yuan, that's $958, leading to a surge in stock prices of companies related to the sector, including a 5% increase for SMIC. Following Huawei's breakthrough in the U.S. sanction, the White House was forced to change its tactics. On September 3rd, Gina Raimondo, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, who got ambushed by Huawei during her visit to China, made a statement about U.S. policy regarding Chinese chips. Unlike previous statements in which stressed both chips at military and civilian level, Raimondo merely addressed that the U.S. will not sell the most sophisticated chips to the Chinese military. She did not deny the possibility of selling chips to China in the future as well. After Huawei's Mate 60 Pro smartphone surprised the market, China's chip breakthrough on the civilian level had been proved, leaving the military-level chips the last resort for the US to contain China technically. Many Chinese see the US ambiguity as an attempt to compromise. However, Chinese netizens believe that the White House would not go quietly. The public is concerned that the compromise can merely be a tactic to erode China's self-developed chip industry, luring it to be dependent on the US once again. Some also consider the US as taking the last chance to gain profit from the chip trades before China researched more of its own. But either way, Raimondo's tough statements on military chip restrictions did not trigger much reaction. It's just never a secret. The high-tech sector is now the only place in which US loosens its grip. On September 6th, the US Trade Representative Catherine Tai announced the extension of tariff exclusions on 352 Chinese imports and 77 COVID-19 related categories until December 31st, including face masks, examination gloves, and hand sanitizing wipes. The exemptions were previously set to expire on September 30th. Under the Trump administration, tariffs were imposed on Chinese imports in the name of national security using Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act. Over 2,200 Chinese imports were granted exemptions during this time, including 549 that received a one-year extension. However, all exemptions expired at the end of 2020. In October 2021, the USTR proposed reinstating the 549 expired exemptions and opened a period of public comment. Nearly half a year later, the USTR confirmed 352 of these exemptions in a March 2022 statement. The exemptions have since been repeatedly extended, now through the end of this year, and critics argue the tariffs have increased costs for American businesses and consumers without achieving stated policy goals. The renewal of 77 COVID-19 related medical products is likely related to the resurgence of the pandemic in the United States. According to the CDC, the number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients has been in a steady increase since late June, with over 17,400 cases reported on August 26th. Many individuals who have received double vaccination and booster, for instance, First Lady Joe Biden, have been found positive for COVID-19 for the second time, With China's removal of COVID-19 testing requirement for foreign travelers on August 30th, this announcement will undoubtedly provide significant market opportunities for Chinese medical equipment manufacturers to find sales outlets. Next up, another piece about international trade. On September 4th, Japan submitted a complaint to the World Trade Organization regarding China's ban on Japanese seafood, stating the action is totally unacceptable and that it strongly urges China to immediately repeal its measures. The complaint has been faced with strong criticism in China, calling it ridiculous and unjustified. Chinese netizens condemned Japan for its attempt to shift blame onto China despite its own action of disposing nuclear contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean. Beijing maintains that its ban on Japanese seafood is a necessary measure to ensure the safety of Chinese consumers and have acted in accordance with WTO regulations by implementing emergency measures to protect consumers from potential harm. As the trade dispute between China and Japan escalates, both countries are cautious against straining the already fragile relations. Looking ahead, Japan is seeking talks with China to resolve the trade dispute, with top officials of both countries set to cross paths at the ASEAN summit. Next up, let's turn to Chinese economy. Starting last week, major Chinese cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen began to stimulate the housing market by widening a definition of first-time home buyers to give more people access to preferential mortgages. Under the new policy, when a household applies for a loan to purchase residential property and none of its members own a home in the local area, regardless of whether they have previously used loans to buy property, financial institutions will consider it as the first home purchase and apply corresponding housing credit policies. As the policy takes effect, first-time home buyers and those seeking to upgrade their housing have quickly made decisions, resulting in a noticeable impact. According to some real estate sales personnel in Beijing and Shanghai, after policy was implemented, the daily sales volume of new housing projects almost exceeded that of the previous month. Experts believe that this policy will stimulate market demand, substantially reduce the cost of home buying, and provide a positive direction for the market, contributing to the stable and healthy development of the real estate sector in China. It is expected that more cities will introduce similar policies in the near future, further enhancing the vitality of the real estate market. Real estate is not the only sector that the Chinese government cares about. On September 4th, China's National Development and Reform Commission established a new institution called Bureau for Private Economy Development. The new bureau is responsible for enhancing communication between private enterprises and the government. It is also in charge of coordinating the preferential policies toward the private sector. Unlike other government institutions in China, based on the latest information, the new bureau does not have supervision responsibilities over the enterprises. The bureau was set up amid China's economic recovery from COVID. With the youth unemployment rate hitting record high, China is finding this way to create more jobs in the private sector. Previously, in July, China's State Council issued a 31-point guideline on boosting private economy, calling to improve the business environment. Opinions on Chinese internet are sharply divided. Despite the promise from the government, many believe that the state is deepening its intervention in private enterprises. "We don't need the officials to tell us what to do," netizens wrote on social media. The others are convinced that the Bureau will help to turn the guidelines into policies preferential to the enterprises. With the Bureau's existence, business will be less disrupted by arbitrary bureaucracy. Next up, a recent survey report released by Micos Institute revealed that the employment focus of Chinese college graduates have further shifted to prefecture-level cities and below. The education sector is the main absorber of graduates in these regions. According to the income data from the survey, the monthly income of college graduates who started teaching in prefecture-level cities and below in the 2022 cohort was 4,468 won. This is an increase of 378 won compared to the 2018 cohort, but it's lower than that of the national average for undergraduates in 2022. However, the job satisfaction of this group not only exceeds the national average level, but is also significantly increased. The data shows that the job satisfaction of college graduates teaching in prefecture-level cities and below in the 2022 cohort is 84%, a substantial increase of 9 percentage points compared to the 2018 cohort. The shift in employment focus and the corresponding satisfaction level indicates that more graduates are finding rewarding work in smaller cities and in the education sector. While their income may be slightly lower than the national average, the job satisfaction levels suggest that the value factors beyond monetary compensation. Next up, let's turn to Chinese technology. On September 7th, the China-Indonesia joint high-speed railway connecting Jakarta and Bandung officially opened, reducing travel time between the two cities from 3.5 hours to just 40 minutes. The 142 km long Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway is Indonesia and Southeast Asia's first high-speed rail system, fully adopting Chinese technology and standards. With a maximum operating speed of 350 km per hour, the new railway is a cooperation project between China and Indonesia under Indonesia's Global Maritime Fulcrum and China's Belt and Road Initiative. It will begin commercial operations in early October. Lastly, let's take a look at the Chinese cinema. According to data from Maoyan, Christopher Nolan's new film Oppenheimer has made 258 million yuan in China after 8 days, surpassing the recent popular Hollywood blockbuster Barbie. From September 1st to 6th, Oppenheimer was the top-grossing film in China each day. As a biopic about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the legendary American physicist known as the father of the atomic bomb, the film has also sparked passion among Chinese audience in revisiting this period of World War II history and nuclear warfare. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts and comments about our show, please reach us at the email address below. I'm Chris. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and see you next time.